The Tangent 8 podcast is aimed at a mature audience. It contains themes that are not appropriate for all listeners. It's important to note that we are not experts. We routinely have no idea what we're talking about and are just three idiots sitting around a table. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Tangent. I'm Seth, and it's just me and Swoosh this week. We don't have a Jondoe.
Yes, he's off doing things. We don't
He's
know
off
what.
on a nice little holiday, although we did get to see him quite briefly because he doesn't live in the same town we do last Friday, which was incredibly nice.
He came to town and we kidnapped him. He had no choice in the matter.
No, he didn't. But it was really good to see him, and we'll hopefully see him again on his way back through from his holiday up north. So it's just me and Swoosh this week, and I mean, like last time it was just me and Swoosh. I called it us unsupervised, and somewhere along the lines I became the supervisor of this podcast, so now we're quasi-supervised.
As evident from the last episode where me and Jondoe were left to our own devices and just suddenly go, dinosaurs? Dinosaurs. Yes. But fun time.
Yes, that was actually a very interesting to kick back and edit and be like, I was not part of any of this. I don't know what this is.
Just said, these Muppets, what are they on about? And that is more or less what we are.
And yet, you're still less of a Muppet than fucking EA.
Yes, no, that is true. They are... Actually, no, we can't call EA Muppets, because Muppets have the capacity to bring joy and laughter to the world. I don't think EA can.
I mean, I'm laughing at them right now.
That is true. We can laugh at them, but they can't, make other people laugh for pure mirth. It's just, why?
So, EA's most recent tweet, well, not recent, it's from July 1st, was they're a 10, but they only like playing single-player games, implying that if they met a 10 out of 10 person, and they only played single-player video games, that they would be a trash pile. I mean, come the fuck on.
We always knew EA was a toxic relationship kind of thing, so it's on brand for them. That makes sense. But at the same time, what the fuck? It's dumb.
I just, like, what? Look, I understand, like, this whole... Like, everyone, let's face it, like... I know corporations have tried to be, like, down with the kids for fucking ages. But let's face it, it all got big off of what was it, Wendy's roasting people. And now all the companies think they're cool or can play with the memes and do all the dumb shit. And it's just like, no, please stop. Please, for the love of Christ, stop. It makes things like this happen.
Pretty much. You can now have entire university degrees dedicated to being a social media account for numerous companies or that kind of thing. There is actual courses to learn for this. Some of it actually looks kind of interesting because they do teach you things like psychology and other things along those lines if it's a good course. There are, of course, very shitty versions where like, yeah, this is how you use Facebook, it's really good, and then you press send. And that's the entirety of the course. Give us your $35,000. But I can't stand when any big company tries to be young and hip. Like, you can tell when they have a marketing team that's actually of the generation they're marketing to. Because it makes sense. The memes and stuff they put up are good. They are made properly. They can be a bit janky because you're trying to force a meme format to fit into advertising, but some of them work. But then there's the ones that just miss the mark entirely. It's like, this is some old prick sitting in a room who has no idea what he's doing, and he's just going, yeah, no, we're hip and cool. Look, it's the memes. They like the memes. Like, yeah, we do. We love memes. But they need to fucking function as memes. You can't just throw a picture and slap some random words on it and be a meme. There's like a graveyard of that stuff all over the internet.
Yes, there is.
Anytime any company or system tries to be, hip and down, it to me is cringy, and I will not go for that product. Yeah. It's like recently with Pride and all that kind of stuff. Like, every company's like, oh yes, we love Pride. The second it's over, like, rip down all the flags. It's like, fuck you, you're not people anymore. And off they go. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys, stick to your guns. Like, I don't get it.
I think the best response to EA's thing actually came from company head that they fired.
Oh.
It was the guy who used to head up Visceral Entertainment. And his response to this tweet was, this is the company that shut down my studio and laid off 100 great developers because they were making a single-player game. Also, if you were to break game ratings down to a 10-point scale, most of EA games are a solid 6 or 7. Not because the developers are bad, but because EA, the corporation, forces them to rush out games. Yeah. EA corporate leadership wouldn't know what a 10 looks like in terms of a video game.
Oh, that is like a roast and a half, and just well done to that guy. It's fucking nice. Like, that's...
Lost his job due to EA and then fucking roast him over this. It's fucking nice.
And unfortunately, that is not a uncommon thing to happen with EA. They have a history of taking over small businesses just for the intellectual property alone, and then stripping it and ditching people in the marketplace. Like, hell, didn't they do that to Australia?
Oh, yeah. Was it Pandemic? I think it was.
Yeah, Pandemic. They came across stripped Pandemic for everything worth taking, and then dumped almost 200 skilled animators, programmers, and QA staff into an industry that was not big enough to support it, and single-handedly crashed our market.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only real game studio we still got's Half Brick.
And even then, they mostly just make mobile games now. Like,
and they do a lot of ports and things.
Yeah. They've not done a full game in a very long time. They're doing a lot of casual stuff, which, makes money. But they've not done a story-driven major campaign, big console launch in a very long time. In
the last Australian company that I'm personally aware of, mostly because I was at one of the launch events for it, last big game I remember Australian company trying to put out there, which ironically was too early. I can't believe I'm saying that. Was, do you remember Orin?
Oh, yeah.
So they put out a game called Fury, which was a PvP, loot-based arena battle game.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it back when it came out, and I was at a launch thing for the game at Orin, and I remember sitting in a chair and having some news person ask me what I thought of the game, and I'll freely admit right now, I lied through my teeth. Because I said it was really cool, and I knew it wasn't going to last. I looked at it and went, no one plays games like this.
Well, spin on to handing that out to us at our uni.
Yes, they did. They gave us free copies of this thing so that there'd be a player base. Yeah. But then, spin forward to the 2020s, and it's like, those games are everywhere. They're really popular. Apparently, Orange just tapped into an idea that people actually wanted, but just not right then.
Yeah, they also got screwed over by their own marketing. They did not really market that game very effectively.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even remember marketing. The marketing I remember was going to the event and then our university going, have a free copy of Fury.
Yeah, that was the marketing. They just give it to uni students. I'll play it. It's like, you want uni students to play a subscription game when World of Warcraft is in its height. No,
I don't think it was a subscription game. I'm pretty sure it was just a buy one done. But they just neither can I. I'd literally have to look up Fury to even fucking know.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, even if it was free, it was too early. I cannot believe I'm saying this. It's like, wow, I literally got to play at least a AA version of a thing that is incredibly popular now, way back before it was ever a thing. It's really surreal because I've for many years thought, who the fuck would have ever played Fury? The game idea is stupid.
Yeah.
And now it's wicked popular.
Now it's everywhere. We can't escape it. Now the new generation, we like this thing. It's like, fuck. Where were you if you're 10 years back? But
yeah.
Actually, it's 15 now. Oh, we're old. But
crap, fuck.
But speaking of bad marketing and that kind of thing, one thing that will always, I don't know why it stands out in my head, but YouTube ads. Now, like most people just block ads now. You can get blockers and that kind of stuff to stop YouTube flooding you with 3 of them at a time as it is now.
Ugh.
And the one thing I don't think these advertisers have realized is if you make your ad unskippable, our generation will not buy your product.
This ad is unskippable. First thing I do, grab my phone. I don't want to fucking watch your ad.
Exactly. I'm going to do something else. I'll suffer through that playing in the background. I'm not going to pay attention to your ad, and I'm not going to buy your product. There's a few that pop up every so often, certain paper towels and all that kind of stuff back then, and it was like, unskippable 20-second ad, and then you'd see them on special. I still wouldn't buy them. On principle. Fuck them. They made me wait 30 seconds to get to a video. They inconvenienced me, therefore, No thanks for you.
Yeah. But at the same time,
petty.
if I was ever looking for tiles, I know I'm going to National Tiles.
Oh, God, yeah, no. He's in my head.
I have just instantly triggered a whole bunch of Australians.
I swear to God, I hate that man. And I've never met him. I have never met Walker from National Tiles. Like, is it Frank Walker?
Frank Walker, National Tiles.
Yeah. My brain was saying Kev, but no, that's Big Kev, and we'll get onto that in a second, because Big Kev lives in my head rent-free.
Oh, yeah, he does. Like, what is it? He's basically Australia's version of Billy Mays.
It was amazing, because I looked it up recently, because at my work, there is a guy whose name is Kev, and someone made the joke of, it's Big Kev. And I'm like, that's in my head now, thank you. Yeah. And then I found pictures of Big Kev. And I forgot he wore the Australian flag as a shirt.
Yeah, he did.
Everything he did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, it was great. But the best thing about Big Kev for me was when we just terrorized this poor Japanese kid on Final Fantasy XIV. So the context for this is a bit strange. And there is apparently a stream recorded of this. And at some point I will have to link it back to the Onions, who was the raiding party I was with at the time. But we were about to run through Ifrit, which is one of their early primal fights. And we were doing this specifically to level up our person who was normally a tank, had switched to DPS. So, cool, we'll level up your DPS going through the trials again, that's fine. And then we saw Big Kev. Now, this was just some guy's name, and he was just a random Japanese student who thought, I'll give myself an Anglo name. Big Kev, that sounds like a good idea. And we took over, Australians in general took over the Tonberry server. That was ours.
Yep.
Everyone else can hang around, we don't care, but every Australian just joins this server. And we followed this poor guy around going, Big Kev, are you excited? Are you excited, Big Kev? And he's panicking because he didn't know much English, and he thought we were just trying to harass him for something. And eventually one of the people in the group was studying Japanese, and we booted up the translator and that kind of stuff, and figured out, no, he does not understand the connotations of Big Kev. So we gave him some homework to go and Google Big Kev Australian TV, and left him be. Because our healer had just come back, who was our shot caller. We went, right, are we all ready to jump in the dungeon? Yeah, we're good. We met this guy called Big Kev, it was great. And we forgot that we were going in under a different build. So we had myself as a summoner, which is DPS, our monk, also DPS, an archer, who is our normal tank, DPS, and a healer. It's a 4-man dungeon. We didn't have a tank. And we walked into this, and we've only realised as it's booted in, and we're all locked into this thing, it's like, crap, who's the tank? What? Why aren't you a tank at the moment? It's like, because we're levelling up my DPS. It's like, oh no.
We have made a mistake.
I eventually, we said, what do we do? Do we restart? It's like, no. I have the tank summon. So I summoned this tiny little rock golem thing to go out there and just stand and take hits. And we somehow survived Ifrit at the correct level and everything. We've been leveled down. And we survived this with a tiny summon just being constantly healed by the healer. I can't keep the summon going. It's fine.
Although, was that 11?
No, that was
were you playing
14.
The newer one. 14.
Newer one.
So
I really enjoyed that game, actually. It's the only MMO I've ever got endgame content.
Yeah, I've never actually played 14, although I've heard many a good thing, and I've kind of wanted to check it out because I eternally hear good things. And I played 11 back in the day, oddly enough, with the same group of people. And I know somewhere out there as well, there's video of me in Final Fantasy 11 doing it. It's a low-level area, so it's not super challenging. It's not like a primal fight. That's fucking stupid, dude. There's video of me on a character class called a Galka, which isn't a particularly mage-friendly character class. And I was playing I think I was trying to level Red Mage at the time. And they're, I got I'm a big person who... Red Mage is more versatile. It's supposed to be heals and damage and debuff and, a little bit of everything. I remember, because I'm not that into traditional party comp. I don't really give a shit. There's usually a lot of ways around traditional party comp. You don't have to have tank, 2 DPS, heal. You can do a lot of other things. You don't have to do that. And I think the exemplar for me of that is the time where I was main heal, main tank, first pull for a party of DPS guys. It was just like, what the fuck is this bullshit? I actually told the clan I was part of at the time, which is the same group who you were with back in FF11, that I was doing it, and then I had a bunch of high-level players standing around watching me do it. Because it was fucking stupid. It was really dumb. It shouldn't have worked, but it made it happen.
I really
There's so much stuff in MMOs that, like, people get too locked into those, like, it has to be this party.
They get locked into roles and, like, the meta and all that kind of stuff, and they get distracted from the actual game. Because I play those games to have fun. I'm not there for a second job of raiding. And the guys that we played with were solid players. Like, the healer, who was our shot caller, is an encyclopedia of knowledge for Final Fantasy. Like, it is terrifying. He knows
watching him
everything.
Run a fucking party is insane. I was playing a Dark Knight back then, and the big thing about the Dark Knight for Final Fantasy XI is a big part of its power output is basically just sacrificing HP for damage. He would know the exact moment to pop all of my Dark Knight abilities, so that not only could he maintain my hit points, I would slaughter everything. Yeah. But he'd get the timing perfect every fucking time. I still don't believe he was that good at it. And I was there really watching him do it.
Like,
best people ever, man.
Wonderful human beings. If anyone has time and the effort to go find them, the Onions is what they're called, and they are great fun. You can watch them. They're pretty jovial, and they stream weekly. I believe they're still going at it. But yeah, no, it's that, and what was it? I'm pretty sure if I jump back into it, which I have been tempted to do again, so that's always dangerous. I know that my room is still in their guild house, because they started using it at one point for a backdrop for certain machinimas they were doing. I built a PI office. It was amazing. I loved it. But yeah, no, it's a great game, and I liked the way they did their system. Like, the Fate system was pretty fun. And that did help you. I don't know what that is. Basically, what they did was there were smaller mini bosses and events scattered throughout their overworld at all times. And anyone who joined in, you got your own XP or your own loot, all that kind of stuff. Yep. But because they were just random people would come in and they could be randomly higher level, you started meeting more people and merging with the community as a whole, which was great because you go from one fate to another and you just cycle through them, leveling up in one area, getting a bunch of higher level materials and a few other things that keeps you going. And they normally centered around crafting spots or resource spots as well. So you go fuck up that, and then you go do some crafting, and you could just chain, and it was great. You'd lose hours to it. But because of that, I actually met some really interesting people. One of them was this, in the middle of like a bigger high level area, this poor little player was just going against these things that were much too high level for them. I'm like, no, I'm running around as a summoner who can heal. They're a side healer, but mostly DPS. And I've just sat there and was like, you know what? I have nowhere to be. I am just off to go smack a couple of wolves in the face because I need pelts. Heal. I just sat there healing this chick, and she's like, that was awesome. Like, I'm off over here now. I was like, do you need a healer? I'll switch to Scholar. Switch to a different job, which is the same character but healing, and just followed them around for a good 4 hours. They eventually joined our the Onions band, and I think is still affiliated with them, and was one of the most terrifying healers I have seen on that server. And then her partner was one of the top ranked summoners on the server, so he turned up and gave me his rotation. I'm like, thank you. I'm gonna use this now. It's like being handed a sword or something. It's like, this is my rotation. Because they guard that stuff. Like, if you have a good rotation, you tell no one. You keep that to yourself. And he's like, here, this. Like, yes! I will tell no one. Thank you for the... Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free! and off I went. But, yeah, no, it's good game, that one. And it's actually gone through enough expansions now that I would be tempted to jump back in.
I mean, like I said, I never played it, but anytime I've had anyone who's played 14?
Yeah.
I always forget what number it is, because my brain always goes, the MMO is 11.
Yeah.
all I've ever heard ever since they've done the Realm Reborn and like did all the retooling on it, it's just been like, stellar game, play it, it's great. I mean, there was that period of time where they had to stop new people joining the game because their server capacity couldn't handle it.
Yeah. I just like they did Cataclysm before Cataclysm, because they built the game and it was okay, but the fan base didn't quite enjoy it. So instead of doing what most publishers would do, which was suffer through and just keep trying, they said, you know what? Fuck it. There's going to be a big-ass battle. You can all jump in. All your names will be recorded, and you'll be a part of history. After that, we wipe the world and we start again. And they did. So there is
Hence
a point.
the title Realm Reborn.
Yeah. So the point of it all being all the people in that world can't remember anything. They don't know what they did before the Cataclysm or anything at all before it. All they know is what they are now. And it was a really good change to a point where they could overhaul the engine. They could do a lot of stuff. They brought back original creators for Final Fantasy XI and a few others and said, help us make this one better. And they set out to improve it. And I will always give them the benefit of the doubt for that. They did well as a company. And they said, you know what? We fucked up. We didn't make the game we wanted. We're now going to make that game. But thank you for helping us. Here's some bonuses. So, yeah. I liked how that worked out.
Yeah. I mean, they did a good job. Like, as you say, most MMO companies would have just suffered through and let it die. Like, what was it? Wildstar?
Yeah.
Which was a really cool looking thing, but they didn't hit the mark. They tried to suffer through and died like so many others.
It's a die or die.
Fuck. Have you seen all the stuff that happened with, what was it, New World?
No, I haven't there.
Dude, like, man. I've never, like, I've played a bunch of games, I've played a bunch of MMOs, but I've never seen one go through fucking deflation of currency.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I know, like, so that was the new big one that Amazon put out.
Yeah.
And because they made gold so hard to get, people just considered it trash. It was just like, I can't ever get enough of this to do anything. I'll give you 10 pellets.
Yeah.
It became barter because gold was worthless. They devalued their own currency too hard by making it too hard to get.
I love that. I love the fact that if you do have a shitty currency, the players will make their own market.
Oh yeah, they will. They absolutely will.
Without a doubt, players will form a market where they just send shit to each other in the post. And it's amazing. Like, nothing gets in the way of gamers and commerce. It's the strangest fucking thing. But
I mean, I can link your videos on the downfall of New World, because it's a fucking trip. The amount of bugs. There's like an immortality glitch that
nice.
I think is still in the game, where if you do, it's because the game is client side, not server side, for all its pinging. So what people did is they basically injected artificial lag into the game via their end, and it caused it to desync with the server. But because the server would register them as still kind of being there, they could stand on cap points and take no damage.
Huh. Sneaky buggers.
Yeah, it was really dumb, but like,
nice.
Given that the whole idea of New World is based on a light hardcore PvP idea, that breaks the entire system, doesn't it?
Yeah. The other thing that players do in those kinds of games is just finding any glitch they can.
Oh, absolutely.
I've done
without question.
Like in Final Fantasy XIV, we found out you could climb certain places in one of the hub worlds. Because it's like this marketplace, and above us all these ropes, and like, that's cool. They meshed the ropes, which means you could climb on them if you got up there. We spent 5 hours until we found the path up to the ropes. And then we taught other people. So anyone who went by was like, how did you get on the ropes? And then one of us jumped down, follow me. And off we went. Into the rafters again, until eventually, instead of being on the floor AFK, everyone was just in the rafters. And it was amazing. Because that's how MMOs work, and I really, really do miss that kind of thing.
What is it in the Elder Scrolls? There's a player called Sleeps on Bridges.
Yeah,
and his entire thing is he goes to one place and he sleeps on bridges.
Yeah,
because players are dumb.
It's great because at this point that guy could now have a streaming thing. It was like, we're following the guy who sleeps on bridges. Like, why? Why are you doing that? Because he sleeps on bridge. It's funny. Leave me alone. Like, we latch on to the weirdest things, and we find it entertaining. But at this point, we've talked about it enough that I reckon if we get enough people hounding us, we could probably get back into Final Fantasy 14. Stream that shit from level 1.
Come on, man. I have enough addictions. I don't need an MMO on top of it.
We definitely need more addictions. But tell you what, if we get enough, like, people going, I will start back at Final Fantasy 14. I will reactivate the account, but start a new character. And I'll start from level 1.
I know you. Yeah. You'll drag my ass along. Stop saying stuff that you're going to do because you fucking know it's a we thing. You fucking know it, you bastard.
And the great thing is, I won't even have to say much. It'll be great. You'll just gravitate back. It's like, yes, join me. I'll be like Darth Sidious in the background pulling the strings. But I'll happily start from level 1 and power back through as a completely different character again and see how that goes. Stream it. Why not? We'd have some fun.
Well, I mean, we've been looking to do some streaming at some point soon anyway.
That is true.
Wow, man, that was a tangent and a half. We started at tweets by EA, and now we're talking about, like, maybe we'll stream Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. What happens when there's not 3 of us? There's, like, we need that pyramid. One person eventually gets distracted enough and get pulled in by the others. If there's 2 of us, the energy cycles. God help us if it's ever just me and Jondoe. That's a very rambly episode.
Fuck. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of me is almost tempted to be like, I'm not available next week, just to find out what happens.
We'll do that, but we have to call it Ramble Rock instead of, like, Ragnarok. Done. I'd be keen. But,
the last time me and you were left alone, we talked a bit about the animes we've been watching. Would we like to update the people?
I vote yes. I've been a bad nerd. I haven't watched a lot of anime. I've been trying to catch up on a few.
That's fair.
There was one which got a 2nd season recently, which was From World's Lowest to World's Strongest. I think that's the full name. I'll have to double check. But the idea of that one is the first season centers around a guy who's, like, it's an isekai. Bunch of people thrown into a fantasy world. That stuff. And this guy has a synthesis ability, so he can fuck with stuff. You know, make metals into other metals, that kind of stuff. And everyone's like, that's a trash ability. You know, what's wrong with you? And they're all being trained to go fight the Demon Lord, all that kind of stuff. But due to circumstances, he falls from the top of a dungeon down to the bottom floors. So he just tumbles down, survives by pure luck. And he's like, all right, I'll survive down here and I'll make my way back up. And basically, he sees a little tiny rabbit. It's like, I can kill that. That'd be fine. And then watches this rabbit just decimate everything around. It's like, I'm going to run away now. And then it's just him surviving down there, getting incredibly strong and trying to get back out. And it's really fun. Because it's along the same vein as the Shield Hero. Where it's a character who's made to be the heel, but isn't the heel. I
will admit, I also have been a bad nerd and haven't actually watched the newest season of
Rise of the Shield Hero
yet.
I do like that series, but they're doing some interesting stuff with it. Because now they have, like, a side quest pop up, and it's like, like, everything else is on hold. You're not counting down to the next wave anymore. There's a different thing happening. So they go off and deal with that. But it's still fun and still interesting. And I want to see what they do. But they're bringing in more weapon users. Because they're the 4 cardinal heroes from that one are sword, shield, spear, and bow. And then they start finding the weirder variants. Like, one of them is I think it's the katana hero or something. And they just, if they get that weapon, they become a cardinal hero kind of thing, or a lesser version of it. So they're introducing that mechanic in, which is getting very interesting, considering he keeps using his abilities to fuck with that. So it's good fun. The whole thing of the Shield Hero and Bafuri always link over for me, just the sheer amount of defense and other stuff they do.
Yeah. I think yeah, we do. I think the show I've been watching the most recently It's still my favorite. I think we talked about it a little bit last time, was Spy Family. That show is still goddamn excellent.
I do like that one. It's great fun. It's weirdly slice of life, but also has like amazing action scenes thrown in. Just, I like it. It's very fun and wholesome.
I mean, have you seen the latest episode of that?
No, I haven't watched the latest one yet, but what horrible things did they get up to?
No, like, it's a dumb one. So I mean, I say this like it's a bad thing, but it's the thing I love about the show. The idea is that the main character is, alright, we're probably gonna lightly spoil some anime as we talk about it, and we'll move into the spoiler section, but I am gonna talk about the newest episode of Spy Family. Like, the main character, Twilight, he's been getting overworked and not spending time at home, so his neighbors are starting to think he's cheating on his wife. He's like, no, we must appear as a good family! And despite the fact that he's massively overworked and wicked tired from all the spy shenaniganery, he decides he needs to take the whole family out to the aquarium. And then, of course, while he's going to the aquarium, his agency's like, but we have a mission at that aquarium! And the whole idea is that some bad guys have smuggled a canister of film, and it has super secrets on a chemical weapon. And the way they were hiding it was by force-feeding it to a penguin. So he has to go to the penguin exhibit and somehow find the correct penguin and somehow get it without anyone knowing that he took it.
That's amazing, and I now have to watch this one.
It's a good episode. I love this show. It's so dumb, but in all the ways that make me want to watch more.
Yeah, I find it weird how divided the anime community is over that show, though.
Really?
It's really weird.
I don't think there was any division.
There is everyone's like, yeah, we like this, but we hate this child. And they all hate the daughter for some reason.
You hate Anya. She's great. Her face
she's
is
little
the reaction
gremlin.
matter.
We'll have to say she's a little gremlin, but
yes.
The best characters are always little gremlins. Hell, we know a bunch of little gremlins in our friend circle. But
yes.
It's just, it's a weird one that pops up, because the memes that pop up for that one are primarily like, this child. We hate this child. Like, why? It's adorable and hilarious.
Yeah, no, she's great. I love Anya. She's a really good character.
The entire premise of that show is daft but fun. I like it.
Yes, it is. We are getting another season. We have actually been confirmed that we're getting a follow-up to Jobless Reincarnation.
Oh, nice. That would be good.
It's not coming out till...
That was one of the first isekais to be put into print.
From what I understand, and I will freely admit, I would have to look this up an awful lot to be able to back it up in any meaningful way. It's one of, if not the first ones to really kick off the whole isekai thing.
Yeah, it's one of the grandfathers of that genre.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, the whole first season was fucking excellent with a brutal fucking ending. Jesus. Well, sorry, not brutal. Normally when I say brutal, it's something really big and holy crap. This one's much more of like emotionally brutal. Yeah. It's really well done. Like, I was, I had all the feels at the end of that season. So I was really hoping we'd get another one, and they have confirmed that they have greenlit a second season of that coming 2023.
Nice. I'm keen for that.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very, very keen. The characters are great. The action's really good. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want more of Jobless Reincarnation.
The next season of anime coming out, we get the next season of Bafuri, which will replace Spy Family for the wholesome fun. So,
is it coming out next season?
I'm pretty sure it's next season. I could be wrong. But it's very soon. It's this year, I think. The next season or the season after. But
it could be.
I mean, I just want to see where they end up with those characters, because they're all broken in different ways, and I really like it. Like, the Great Shielder he spec'd himself for offense instead of defense, and is just undead. Like, the fact that he styled himself as an undead lord, because if he gets killed, he comes back at half health. It's like, you know what? Nah. If I'm low on health, I do more damage. This is great for me. Smacks them down, comes back up, like, and now I have all the power. And murders everyone. But their artificer who somehow gamed the system and now just has auto summon spells stored in devices. Like, how? It's like, I don't know. I figured it out one day. It's like, well, okay.
Fuck you is how.
Yeah, pretty much. That entire guild is very much fuck you because I say so. Like they're run by an accidental monster. The second in command is a pro gamer who spends her life like speed running and power statting. And then there's the side characters who are just terrifying at one particular thing. It's like, neat. I like all of this. That, and they have the One Piece thing of, I make friends with everyone. It's like,
yeah, they do.
They hate you. Now they don't. It's like, oh, okay.
I've just done a quick skim, and I can't find anything that actually says the release date for the second season of O3.
Curses, I may have seen something incorrect again.
Oh no, everything says it's supposed to air this year, but nothing's saying like is it, and like I had a skim of next season and I didn't see it, and then I looked up the show itself and I can't find anything saying its exact air time. But it is still slated for this year, and goddamn it, I will watch the fucking shit out of that.
Yeah. I forced that onto so many people. But on the topic of brutal animes and that kind of stuff, have you noticed there's been a decent trend of more brutal storylines coming out, which I quite like?
What do you mean?
Like in the way of more emotionally hard-hitting stuff. There's not as much, slice of life, happy-go-lucky stuff. They're still there, definitely.
I was about to say, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's definitely still there. But things like Jobless Reincarnation with that ending and a few other things popping up, which is like, I would not have expected that kind of stuff to appear 10 years ago in anime.
Or it would be show up only as a movie. Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the old Ghibli stuff, particularly something like Princess Mononoke. Some of that stuff, like, that shit's still kind of creepy.
And we don't talk about Grave of the Fireflies.
No, we don't. No one talks about it.
Doesn't exist.
God, fuck. God.
And now we're sad.
I found out about that thing because of fucking AMV videos, just using some of the random shots from it. And I'm like, what is this thing? The animation looks really good. And then someone I knew at uni was just like, here, take it, go watch it.
I know that
I fucking hate that guy.
They inflicted that movie onto me as well. And it's just, why would you do this?
Because he's a dick, that's why.
I'm pretty sure it comes down to, like, I watched this, therefore the suffering must be spread to others.
Yeah,
the worst thing is, it's a great movie.
Oh, it's
but
a
holy
fantastic
shit, is it sad? Like, fuck.
And then, of course, you have more recent stuff like To Your Eternity, and it's just like, why? Why are you making me feel things? I came here for fun anime.
That one is sad in so many ways, and at the same time so uplifting. And it's like, why don't mix these things together? Why do you do this?
Yeah, like, I think the easiest way you could describe it is the beauty of suffering.
It really is. Like, that is the best way of putting it, because it's just, this thing has to learn. How does it learn? Through suffering. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, how does it get stronger? Like, it takes the form of things that have died and it can get to them. It's like, okay, that's pretty neat. It mostly does this for its friends. Like, oh, okay.
I can honestly say, if you like, I know we mentioned To Your Eternity last time we were talking about anime.
Yeah.
But like, seriously, if you have not watched To Your Eternity, go watch To Your Eternity. You're gonna be a little bit depressed, but it's really good.
I will say this: it's like Game of Thrones, the anime. Do not get attached to people.
Yeah, but unlike Game of Thrones, I give a shit when people die.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's an improvement on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it is. It really fucking is.
But I can't remember. There was another anime I watched ages ago. The annoying thing is it's got a very similar name to another one. I think it's Bokurano. But there's another one called Bacano, which is mobsters who can't die, and that is a fun anime, and people should watch that. But
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's pretty fun. Bokurano is a weird one. These kids go, like, the first episode details all of it, and I will mildly spoiler a few things.
We're behind a spoiler wall.
Yeah. These kids go to a summer camp, and they find this little, this guy who's like, hey, you guys want to play a game? It's like, yeah, we like playing games. Games are fun. These are like, young teenagers. And it's like, right, if you put your hand on this weird tablet thing, that will put you into the game. And at any point, you can be summoned to play this game. It's like, oh, that sounds awesome. And they put their hands, they all jump on, and then they're summoned into a mech. Now, the way they pilot this mech is they're sitting in their favorite seat. So, like, if one kid has a beanbag, he loves it. It's his favorite seat ever. So he pilots from this beanbag. And the idea is one person pilots and the others are there to give guidance and help out where they can and share energy. And they have to fight another giant robot. And they go through the first one and they win. It's like, yay! And they're on top of the robot, you know, going through it all. And they clap the guy who piloted on the back. Like, yeah, you did really well. You'll get the next one. And he falls to his death. But he's already dead. So the twist of that one, anyone who pilots the mech dies. Like, if you begin and end the fight, dead. And you have to give up your energy. And they had no idea about this. And then it's because it's explained afterwards, this little fucking creepy mascot thing comes out and it's like, hey, fuck all of you, I hate you all, but you now have to fight in an interdimensional tournament. If you fail, your world is erased. Which one they go, what do you mean? It's like, oh yeah, that thing you fought before, that first one, yeah, they're dead now. Their entire universe is gone. Well done. And it's like, and it just goes from there of these poor kids having to fight. Because if they don't, everything ends. Like, literally everything. And they're not exactly the most...
watch that.
Yeah, and they're not exactly the most well-rounded kids. They come from some pretty sketchy backgrounds and fucked up families. And it's sad, but at the same time, really good. It should be watched by more people.
Well, shall we get on to our TV roundup for the week?
Yes, why
not? Okay, so I'm just going to start with the heavy one, which was Orville.
Yes. I finally caught up. I had 2 to catch up on, and I caught up on both of them.
I mean, like, the previous, like, I mean, you see what I meant last week when it was like, it's a very political episode, but it really works. They do a really good job. And then this week, it's like... Yeah, I know, right? It was really good. And then the newest episode is kind of a... It's, for lack of a better way to put it, a part 2 of something that actually is from earlier in the franchise. To do with the fact that...
second season?
I can't remember when they did it. It was a good episode because it was... God, I'm good. Look, I'm a white guy. I'm a straight white dude. So, you know, just bear with me because I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff that's not super impactful on me, but impacts a lot of people I know.
Actually, we should really kidnap Sammy or someone for this conversation at some point.
I really wanted to have someone for this, but they didn't get back to me before we started recording. Because, like, it's all to do with gender issues. The previous episode was that the Moclan race, their entire religious and sectal background is that if you're born female, you must be sexually reassigned as male.
Yeah.
And there's a whole episode about whether or not this should be done to a child.
Because there's I like the way they've done the progression for the entire thing. Because at the start, it's very much they say, "Oh no, Moclans are all male. There is no such thing as a Moclan female."
Yeah.
And then when they get to the point of the Bortus having a child and born female, it's like, "Oh no, this happens," but when they do, they're converted to male. And it's like, "Oh, well, that's fucked," and it becomes a big thing of like, you are changing a child without their consent. This is nothing that we should be stand for.
And it's a big thing. It's a whole well-done episode. It's really good. And then they've essentially dovetailed it into the newest episode where that child has been reassigned as male, but feels wrong. And it really gets into a lot of transgender issues with, like family abandonment, religious and cultural upbringing, other people getting to decide whether or not you even get your assignment surgery. It's a lot of stuff to be in the funny make joke show, and it's taken seriously and treated that way. That while it's the funny show, the Orville, at no point do they make fun of this topic. It's treated properly. They
do. He does it the same way that Scrubs was written, where they can have funny things and jokes, but when it comes to the topic they're discussing, that isn't the joke.
Yeah,
that's the topic they discuss. Jokes happen in the background about other things. Like in this episode, there's a couple of funny things that pop up, like their pilot is just covered in hives and is in the in the med bay, and she's like, "Why would you do? Why would you eat this thing? No human has eaten this and not had a severe reaction." Like, it looked so tasty though. It had sprinkles. It was good. And yeah, that's how they segue into one of them talking to their medical officer. It's like, that's the best way of handling this. The joke isn't about this topic, which is extremely controversial. It's about stupidity in the background.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I feel so bad trying to talk about this because I'm not part of the community.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine that this has got to be good for people in that community to see a mainstream, generally well-regarded show tackling a topic and not making fun of it and treating it with some respect. Yes, they're still doing the the aliens are the ones having it talked about, so it's easier for people to watch. Thing. There's a whole branch, I remember from uni, that they used to talk about it, that if you wanted to talk about difficult topics, use a different race because it'll make it easier.
It makes it better for people to actually take it on board and understand and remove themselves from the equation is the big thing for that.
Yeah. But it's just so well... Like, I remember getting to the end of the episode just being like, I cannot believe that I just watched this on what would have been a cable TV show.
Yeah.
I would never have thought about this even like 5 years ago. I wouldn't have expected to see a show do this.
And it was a very emotional episode. It was really well written. And everyone always remembers Seth MacFarlane as fart jokes and Family Guy, but he can actively write really well. Like, he's a very good actor and he writes very good things. Whilst he can be funny, he can tackle some pretty heavy subjects with tact and make sure to get the information across. He's also an extremely good singer. Broadway levels singing ability. Hell, my Spotify has a bunch of his albums on it just because I really like the way he sings. But this one was hard to watch in some ways because it's Grayson, the commander, or was it the second command?
Yeah.
Because her eternal struggle for that one is she knows everything about this child. She fought to have the surgery postponed when she was a child to make sure it was like, let the child choose, and almost won, but unfortunately didn't. And she has can't remember the actual name of the kid at the moment. Topa has Sopa shadow her for command and that kind of stuff to see if they want to join their fleet. And it's just the entire time it's like, I feel something's different, or I'm different from other people. You just see that character like I want to say the things. I want to say the things.
When that kid walked into the science bay and went up to the character who earlier in the season literally killed themselves and was like, what's that feel like?
Isaac.
It's like, whoa, bro, are we gonna... No, back up.
Yeah, it was like, oh, that's a red flag. And even like the robot has gone, that's a red flag. I'm gonna take that.
And given the fact that a big thing about Isaac's thing is he doesn't feel, so he doesn't tend to pick up on that sort of stuff. Even the robot's like, I need to tell someone.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a good one, but it's that and the whole thing of prompting them to look into something. It's like, I really like this specific kind of cake. Like, it's really good. There's so many in the synthesizer though, so make sure you look carefully for that. And then that leads them to the name of the file that was hidden in the database for them. The entire thing was named after this cake, and then a number. And it was done really well in the fact that Topa tries to access the file, but can't because it's password protected. So, all right, I tried. And then the password pops up on screen. It's like, okay, so Grayson sent them the password. Something triggered. And then you find out, no, it wasn't. It was actually someone else.
I mean, I'm going to say it was Bortus. It was Topa's father. And it's so good because the scene where he goes to Grayson and admits it, it's so brutal.
Because
it's just such a raw moment.
Yeah, the Moclans are all... Like, the only real thing they show for emotion is anger, because they're this version, or this universe's version of...
Klingons.
Klingons, essentially, yeah. It's like, we are the war race, and we do all this kind of stuff. We repress everything but honor and anger and that kind of thing. And you see this character who's used to repressing emotions crying, and it's like, oh, okay, fuck. This is
so heavy.
But it was that right kind of heavy. It was a really...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely perfect.
And this was off the back of the last episode as well, which also touched on a pretty heavy subject, which was the Krill, having upheaval, essentially a coup in their thing and turfing them out. But finding out that the captain has a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, this episode starts with him wandering around on his data pad and Grayson goes, hey, what are you doing? I'm writing letters to my daughter. I might not be able to send them to her, but at least she knows I was... if I can ever give them to you, she'll know what the world's like and know that I was thinking of her. It's like, damn it, man!
Yeah.
Make a fart joke!
Why are you making us sad? We came for the funny haha. But, really well written, and that's happened the entire way through the Orville. They went back to old school Trek formula and improved on it with just throwing comedy in. But then we look at the new Star Trek, which is Strange New Worlds, and they've also returned to the formula. And whilst they don't have as many jokes in there, I can happily switch between Orville and Strange New Worlds, and the flow continues. When you're watching a TV show and it's like, all right, I finished this one for the week, I'm going to jump to this, but you have that break in it because it's going from, say, fantasy to a sci-fi or vice versa.
You're watching Westworld and then you go, you know what, I'm going to go watch Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, pretty much. It's that weird disconnect for the first 10 minutes of the show. But you don't get that with Orville and Star Trek because they're both from the base material. So it's like they're both, like Linux and in Windows, they both run on the original DOS matrix, but they came from the same origin, but they're very different.
Yes.
But for some reason, you can work in both. And the new episode of Star Trek has been fun. Although, whilst I am really enjoying what they're doing with the Gorn, I cannot unsee the goddamn original Gorn.
I know. It perplexes me because they keep being like, if one Gorn gets out, that's it. We are all dead. We're donezo.
But I have a really good way of showing that lately, though. Every time the Gorn turn up, they are actively terrifying. They are legitimately scary things in that setting. The fact that... Oh,
fuck. That's some fucking... Look, I'm a giant aliens nerd, so watching fucking things burst out of someone is like, yeah!
But it wasn't just bursting out. They ate their way out.
I mean, that's the way aliens work, too.
Yeah. But it was just, and then they start fighting amongst themselves because only, they hatch in broods of 4 to 6, but only one comes out of it alive.
Yeah.
Holy
the most
shit.
brutal Gorn.
Yeah.
And they're wicked strong and shit because they show small ones dragging people off. It's like, whoa, okay, I get it. These things are wicked tough. I love that you're doing so much work here. I have seen an out of shape Shatner beat one up. You can't take that away from me. You can't say Gorn and not have me remember that.
I'm assuming that was a Gorn that was extremely sick or something.
You can say it all you want, but...
Too many inbreeding episodes resulted in that one Gorn. It's essentially... what was that thing from the guy from the Goonies?
Buck. I can't remember. He's Candy Bug.
Basically... I see that now, and I expect that Gorn to be like, hey, you guys! It's like, oh, God, Fred's here. Let's just put him on a random desert planet. Just send him over there. And then it gets the shit kicked out of him by an out of shape Shatner. But, the new Gorn is fun and terrifying.
We still haven't seen an adult one yet.
No, we've seen an adolescent, because apparently they can grow to full height, or full maturity within a day or something.
Depends on what they were spawned from.
Yeah. So humans...
Something like that. I think
days,
they said... Yeah.
And was it... Andorians was a couple of weeks or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, and we lost...
Oh, we lost Hammer!
Yeah, because that's how we found out that the weird things, stuff they spit is how they reproduce. But that was a sad one.
Yeah.
And the chick who... was it their security... command chick, the one who runs security for them, is essentially a Gorn survivor. Came from one of their breeding camps, kind of levels of fuck.
Her entire ship got taken. No, it's worse than that, because they do that, and the Gorn have this thing where they put one person out in a life pod and be like, to use as bait. And she was bait.
She was bait, but managed to get away. And it's like, holy shit, that's terrifying. So, like, anytime the Gorn turn up, they just defer to her, which I really, really like. Because even the captain is like, what do we do? How do we deal with this? And she's like, we're doing these things now. It's like, yeah, no, we follow this chick. She knows exactly how to mess them up. We're going to do that. It's like, that's intelligent. That's good writing. That's
I think the only thing I don't like about it is every time she says it's the Gorn, she's right.
Yeah, pretty much. She does have a sixth sense of the Gorn.
Well, it's just because, like, it's usually, like, intense situation, something weird's going on. Must be the Gorn.
In that case, the case in the most recent episode, they did mention the eggs or the disease that the guy had, which is how they reproduce. And she's like, that is the thing. Which fair. But she was already mentioning the Gorn when they saw the blood everywhere. It's like, no, bad thing. Trauma says no. And yeah.
Look, it's perfectly serviceable. They want to use her that way. And, like, the girl they've got playing her, excellent. Like, she does great job of selling this, like, oh, this is fucked, I'm not doing this a second time.
Yeah. And then we have, Kirk's dad, his father is on the ship, and they make reference to him, but he's in the crew for this one, and he's a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like, legit. He's, understandably, it's meant to be a terrifying situation. And he is freaking the fuck out. Like, and instead of dealing with her in any way that's useful, he just randomly turns on Spock. This is, what? I'm a rip into this guy because he can't feel feelings, and I don't like that because I'm feeling all the feelings now. It's like, I mean, I get why you're doing it, mate, but there's a thing trying to eat your face. Maybe focus on that right now.
Yeah.
But still, really, really good episode, and that series is doing some... It's reignited my love for Star Trek.
Yeah, it has. So many ways. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And then we've, of course, got The Boys.
Yes.
Not a bad episode. It's clearly designed... Like, it's a good episode, but everything about it is designed as a setup because it's the penultimate episode. Next week is the season... this week. We'll have watched it by the time this episode goes live. Of The Boys. It's designed for the final, and it sets up some interesting stuff, and it's like, ooh, what are we going to do?
Yeah. But it's like, we're at that point where in a chess game, you're chasing someone's king around. It's like, check, check, check. And we're at that point now. It's like, I'm keen for the new episode, and I want to see how this shit explodes in the worst way
but I mean, like, using that analogy, it feels like that they're getting to that point where they're chasing him around check, and then they've missed the pawn that's flipped into a queen on the other side of the board.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh, I ignored that. That's bad. Bad days for everyone involved now.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, I was excited for this episode because I thought it was going to be a lot of payoff for the stuff from the previous episode. It wasn't, but it was all like, all the pieces are now in place. Let the House of Cards fall. Let's see the fun.
And I'm just going to say, I really do like Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy.
Like, he's doing a good job.
Oh no, I love his stuff. I watched all of Supernatural. I really enjoyed that series. But it's good to see him doing things other than that now.
Yes,
so he's got some decent acting chops on him, and he plays the dick really, really well. Like, scarily well. Like, apparently he's a wonderful human being in person, because a couple of our friends are massive Supernatural nerds and will happily travel to the big expo in Rome every year, to the point where
one of them made a car cake, didn't she?
Yeah, she made baby out of gingerbread. But the greatest thing is they recognize her now.
Yeah, I know, right?
They say, oh my god, it's Bakery Girl! And then, because there was a thing for a while where if you made anything for someone at a convention, it was taken away from them. The staff would take it away, either get rid of it, or if requested, they could have it tested to make sure you're not dosing them with LSD.
Yeah.
But apparently, Eccles would not let them do it. He slapped someone's hands like, no, this is mine, and just wouldn't let it go. So apparently, a wonderful human being. Like, good to know.
Yeah.
But apart from that, what else was there? We had to talk about Snowflake Mountain.
The peak garbage we're watching.
Oh man, this has replaced Below Decks for me at the moment.
See, I couldn't get into Below Decks. There was like a level of trash that was too much for me. Snowflake Mountain, on the other hand, chef's kiss.
The idea of taking a bunch of entitled little shits, like, people think our entire generation's that way, sure, but these are like the worst ones you can find. Like, horrible. And the first episode is exactly what I wanted. These little shits getting the wake-up call of, you're not going to a luxury resort, you're actually stuck in the middle of nowhere with these two guys who are military. And just as a side note, they give off Eric and Rugrat vibes if I've ever seen it.
Yes, they do.
Like, if there is ever a TV adaptation of the 2-Week Curse, the current series we've all been absorbed in,
yes,
I want them to play them, because they fit scarily well. But yeah, watching these wankers essentially get that wake-up call is amazing. And you see their true colours within seconds. Like, one of them, the first task they have to do is go and get food. So a few of them just faffing around, and they're not doing anything, leaving the work up to other people. When one guy has a massive anger issue, the sport guy, sporty guy, I can't remember his actual name. But if anyone can't do something, he will heckle them and just be a dick about it, essentially. And you see him, he's trying to get these other two to pay attention and do the job. He's doing the job. It's really not a four-man job. It's fine. But he's making it harder than it needs to be. And then you cut to the other guys who have wandered off into the woods to find the other stuff. And one guy's like, we'll just steal the good food.
Yeah.
And steals all the good stuff, like marshmallows and vegan chocolate.
Crackers.
The things like, one of them is vegan. Like, one of the people there is a vegan. And he takes all the vegan shit. So she has nothing.
Yeah.
And eventually he outs himself because he gets a crush from the vegan chick. And it's her birthday, and she has a very bad day. And he gives her, marshmallows and chocolates. We stole this. Don't tell anyone. And she does the appropriate thing and tells the rest of the fucking group, because fuck him. He's a dick.
And then you see that such a wanker.
He is, and he doesn't get better. You see other people. I've watched about 4 or 5 episodes, and people get better. A few of them make improvements, and they take on what they're being taught. And because it's not all just survive in the wilderness, it's things like you have to empathize with people. You have to understand their point of view. All that kind of stuff is brought up. Just basic shit they just don't seem to comprehend. And he doesn't work out at all. Eventually he bitches out because they can leave at any time. But if they leave,
a girl does.
Yeah.
Right at the first point, they get into the campsite and she's like, I'm out. Walks.
Yeah, she's out. Just immediately, I'm done. Bye. And after that one, when they start seeing more of them wanting to leave, to stop that, it's like, right, if you survive, there is a prize pool of $50,000. But for every person that leaves, that decreases by $5,000. So that inherent greed they all feel is like, okay, we're going to stay around. I want that money. And that keeps them for a while. But you can see that slow morphing, and it's like, ooh, I want to see if you actually come out of this as better people or not. This will be interesting. So I'm actively invested in a couple of them because they're showing growth as a human being.
And I've only watched the one episode so far, but like I said, this is that peak sort of trash reality TV shit that I like to watch.
Yeah,
but the fact that you're telling me that there's they're gonna get better. This isn't some fucking Jersey Shore shit.
Yeah, no,
that actually makes me want to watch it even more.
Exactly, and one of the things is I think it's the second episode, but it's the poor vegan girl. She cops a lot of shit. It is when it's her birthday, and all that stuff happens with the food. That's after a very fucked up bit for her, because they split into teams and they do separate tasks. The task that she was on was they had to basically carve an animal. So they had a deer. It's already dead, that kind of thing. They hung it up, they bled it, and they've got this chick who's their wilderness expert going, all right, we're going to now de-pelt and then like remove everything, cut it into bits, and this will be your dinner. And she's just like, I can't do this. I'm vegan. I don't believe in this at all. And they do push her a bit. They're saying, look, whilst we respect what you're saying there, and you can go back and chill at camp, that is completely fine. We kind of forgot you're vegan. We're sorry. But what we would like to explain is these deer are a pest because they've built up to numbers where they start getting diseases, and it's actually beneficial to cull them. As a vegan, can you understand that as an ethical reason for hunting? And she said, no, I can't. It's like, all right, cool. Off back to camp for you. You can go and chill out there and recover. Because it was a gnarly sight. There's headless deer hanging there. It's like, and it cuts back to the two main guys going, oh, crap, she's vegan. Oh, crap, she's vegan. Like, they legitimately forgot. And it's just, oh, you poor bastards. But even then, she never holds it against them or the creators of the show in any way, which she could have.
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah. But, no.
It's
a decent show.
I think I might actually go watch some more of this after we're done, which, given the fact that we're out past an hour, is probably something we should start looking at wrapping up.
I think we've covered everything. I don't think there's anything else that is really...
I don't think we could do something without going into some serious ramble territory. And I mean, like, maybe we'll do that one episode, but, like, I'm serious. Like, me and Swoosh, we can go into some real ramble.
I know. Basically, the scary thing... We need to have at least one of us at some point holding the reins, because if two of us get excited, there has to be one person going, all right, guys, there's other things we'd like to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because we're all just squirrels, essentially, and just, if we're distracted by something, we will run. But thankfully, we're all distracted by different things.
Yes.
So I see something shiny, like, ooh, shiny thing! And then the other two are like, oh, that was funny, maybe come back now. Like, oh, right, yeah, fair enough. And the same thing with like yourself and Jondoe. It's just like, yeah, no.
Oh, very much so. Okay, well, I think that's us for the week. Have a good one, guys.
Enjoy. Go watch things. They're all good.